everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the media for helping us get the word out about the work that we're involved in. Thank you to all the supporters in the room coming out tonight. Thank you to the Hancock 17 for your work in our resistance. The Hancock 17 is a group of our drone war crime resistors who are continuing the resistance at the Hancock Air Base. I want to acknowledge that we are here on Onondaga land. Today we're going to begin this press conference by hearing from some of the Hancock 17 resistors who will begin trial very shortly, and also from some of our supporters who have helped make this movement possible. Our first speaker will be Judy Bellow. Thank you.
I have been a part of the resistance movement at Hancock for some time. I have a strong belief that we need to stop this killing by drones. It's indiscriminate, it's unnecessary, it makes war possible in places where war doesn't belong. And I think this is really a strong case that we need to make. Now, today, what I'm going to do, or in this trial, is I'm going to submit some testimony by a young man in Afghanistan whose brother-in-law was killed in a drone strike in Maidanshar in Wardak province. And I'll show you his picture. His name is Raz Mohammed, and Raz belongs to a group of peace activists in Kabul, which is a multi-ethnic group. In other words, they come from different parts of Afghanistan, and in fact where different languages are spoken. And you can see the Afghan peace group here. So these young men, it's the Afghan Peace Volunteers. I've known these guys for a long time because they started out as the Afghan Youth Volunteers, and their mentor, Wee Tek Young, is from Singapore. He's a physician from Singapore who's been working very hard to help young Afghans build a better life. And I'm not going to take too much of your time, but what I'd like to do is just briefly read the statement that I asked Raz Mohammed when I knew I was coming here to just make a statement of would he like an order of protection the way I have one protecting the base commander. And he said yes, he would. So this is his statement. He said, on Friday the 30th of May in 2008, my brother-in-law was killed by a drone along with 4 of his friends. My brother-in-law was a student and was innocent. Accountability from the U.S. military for this incident was non-existent. This incident created a situation which was beyond imagination. It affected the minds of my sister and all members of my family. When my nephew was 5 years old, he asked his mother, "Where is father?" My sister replied, "Your father was killed by a computer." These negative effects on all of us persist until today. I am worried for my family and for the people of Maidanshar. I request that the U.S. courts protect my sister, my family, and my village. I wish the U.S. courts would be able to save all of humanity from drones. Raz. And I want to just give one little comment of context for this. The drones have been striking over Maidanshar, in particular this little town, from the beginning of the war until now. And the civilians who live there are under constant strain and constant fear of drone attack. And since the 28th of September, there have been 2 serious drone attacks in which 10 people have died. And those people were labeled militants, of course, as was Raz's brother-in-law, who he says was a student and who had nothing to do with the war. So this is an example of why I feel that the citizens of this country have to take a stand and ask our government to stop utilizing the force that they're capable of in negative ways to control the rest of the world.
I'm from Binghamton. I've been involved with this upstate coalition to ground the drones and end the war since we started doing our campaign here at Hancock. We have had several instances of nonviolent direct action, and some of us have done some jail time. I'm here today not as a defendant, but as a supporter. I was there for the action that happened that goes on trial today, the 17 people, but I was across the street on that particular occasion. I do want to talk about Tariq Aziz, the young 16-year-old Pakistani young man who was killed by a drone. He had gone to a grand jirga in Islamabad, which was a cooperative effort from the elders of Pakistan and some Western supporters. And they said that they needed proof that these things were happening, that these drone strikes were happening in Waziristan and elsewhere. And he was going to go back to his village to videotape them. And before he got there, he was killed by a drone strike. He had the full sanction of the people of his elders, who were to him the highest authority, and he was killed by a drone strike in a program that defies justification, defies legal justification. And I want to stand here in support of him again. Thank you.
I'm from Queensburg, New York. My name is Mikeperry. And I'm here today with a simple message that this trial is about ending the war crimes that are being committed in our name, and it's about putting the drones on trial because these are weapons that are committing crimes against humanity, and that's our message. So that's just it. Thank you.
I'm one of the 16 defendants on trial today. We have faced charges of violation trespass and violation disorderly conduct, and that doesn't. We believe that we are not guilty of that charge, but that the actual crime is the killing of civilians, the war of aggression, the violation of national sovereignty, and the extrajudicial killings that are conducted by these drones, beginning here at Hancock Airfield. We believe that it hurts people everywhere when there's a double standard, that our government should not be above the laws, that we have these really important laws that are leading us toward peace, and that when we don't uphold those laws, it makes the world unsafe for everyone everywhere. When we kill whoever we want, whenever we want, however we want, with no accountability. So here we are as citizens to call a halt to those war crimes and to lead us in a direction more toward peace and accountability.
Nice trial. As a Catholic Christian, I'm very happy that the Pope has raised his voice for peace. He has said he is hearing the cry for peace from peoples who are oppressed by war and violence. And he asks with anguish, what is happening in the heart of humanity? It's time to stop. It is time to stop these drones. The Pope has also said that faith and violence are incompatible. And part of my message here is that the Catholic Bishop of Syracuse should be teaching the truth, that faith and violence are incompatible. I'm not opposed to the bishop supplying Catholic chaplain to the base to meet the spiritual needs of the military on the base, but I am opposed to the fact that the chaplain he supplied, Colonel Douglas Cunningham, does not teach the gospel truth that faith and violence are incompatible.
My name is Marianne Bailey Flores. I'm also from Ithaca, from the Ithaca Catholic Worker. And today I come as the defendant with the Hancock 17. I was here on trial 2 years ago before Judge Gideon. And at that time we were facing 2 violation charges. Again, we're facing 2. The reason I'm here and what I will be speaking about in the court today is that we came knowing that we have the right to redress our government, and that's why we stood in front of those gates at Hancock, to redress our government, knowing that there are war crimes going on beyond that gate, and that we're here to uphold the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 2. And there are treaties that we have signed, the United States has signed, our Congress has ratified the UN Charter, the Geneva Accords, and many other treaties that is supreme law of the land under Article 6, Section 2. And so we know that we are there to help embody these laws. As my sister Claire just said, were there. We went to Hancock, and we will continue to go with the Gandhian wave to say we will not be complicit with our government's war crimes.
James Ricks. I'm from Ithaca. I'm not going to spell my name just because I want to be contentious. We're a diverse group. I hear my fellow co-defendants. I am a defendant tonight. And, you know, I kind of go against this dehumanizing type policy that we employ anytime we are ready to subjugate a people, you know, and it, no offense to Mark, but, you know, I go back to the doctrine of discovery, and it's not anything new. I'm glad that there is diversity even in the hierarchy of the church, and that's comforting to me right now. We're going to speak against a policy of empire that they always seem to have such, to me, a troubling double standard, and they jump out all over. If we came here and protested and went into court and said, man, we were completely legal about what we did, and the judge asked us, what is our justification? We told him we have a secret interpretation. I think he would laugh us out of court, but our government, the CIA and Obama, they kill people extrajudiciously. It's international war crime, and when asked to justify it, they say we have worked out this completely illegal justification, and what is it? Well, it's a secret. And to have a secret from the people that are pulling that trigger, that are killing people, that is such a troubling concept for me to even internalize. Somebody kills somebody, and then they tell you that they have a legal secret justification for doing it. I'm surprised that there isn't a lot more commotion and upheaval or concern about that. It seems to just pass by. And I wonder if it's because, excuse me, getting kind of warm, but I wonder if it's because of the color of the people that are being killed. I noticed that there are a lot of black and brown and Muslim people that are killed, and these academic, detached kind of arguments, I have to sit and wonder if the children and the women holding these babies and, you know, all of these wedding parties that are killed by this really crazy policy called signature strikes, where they just observe a group of people and they have some kind of formula. If they meet a certain amount of times, they don't even know who these people are, if they're men or women, and be so arrogant to talk about actionable intelligence. I mean, the hypocrisies are rampant, and I really have to question it as I watch, even amongst my co-defendants. They have become so astute legally. And I sit and I watch legal discussions taking place, and I know their hearts, though. I've seen them talk about the children and cry about these children. So I know their hearts, but even in having to deal with this thing in court, they have to arm themselves, you know, with some sort of a legal understanding, or they kind of just take us and arrest us and violate our rights and throw us in jail anyway. So at least if we can kind of familiarize ourselves with the technicalities of the court, we're making it not that easy. But in observing, even my co-defendants are starting to have these discussions about the legalities. It just gives me, it's like a microcosm of the bigger picture. I see people talking about children dying, and I mean, not just that, society's being completely destroyed because people refuse to gather in groups anymore. They could become a target. If we were in Waziristan or Peshawar, where Judy was talking about, we would be subject to possibly being hit with a drone now, because there's this many people here. And if anything, that to me is terror, and it's put under this guise of a war on terror. And just really quickly, I went to Pakistan. I spoke to people who have to exist under that kind of constant threat. You know, I know they're starting to fly drones around here, and they're only surveillance drones. And I watch planes now. I turn off if I got my earphones, I take them out to see if I can hear the plane, to see if it's a drone. And it's just what they call like to observe. And I don't know, if I knew that that thing could possibly fire a missile and kill me, I would be terrified. And for us to say that we're fighting a war on terror by terrifying people is confusing to me.
Double tapping is when the drones target one set of people, and then they wait. They'll obliterate those people. They call it bug splatting. And then they'll wait until rescuers, often family members, come, and then they'll bug splat those folks too. That, in addition to being, you know, something that's just hard to even contemplate or talk about, is such a clear, completely clear violation of all international agreements. And these international agreements and laws that we're talking about, this is the human race trying to survive on the planet. We're trying to end war as an end in itself, to stop these horrible crimes, but it's also a beginning of trying to solve the other problems that we have. And for the United States to be routinely and consistently just trashing all of these human agreements I don't have a word for it. And it is our responsibility as humans and as citizens we actually are in a special spot on the planet right now. And it's not too much to say that the future of the planet goes through this courtroom. It's really not. We have a special responsibility to the human race to honor these agreements that have been put in place through, not through some conference, people getting together and saying, oh, this is a good idea, through horrible experiences of war in the past. And so we're talking about war, acts of aggression here, which is the supreme crime. It's worse than rape. It's worse than genocide. It's worse than enslavement. If the base over here has attack wing on it, if they had the rape wing in 8-foot letters, how would that feel driving down East Malloy Road? Or the enslavement wing? Or the genocide wing? Attack is actually, legally and morally, a more serious crime than any of those that I mentioned. And this is not just an opinion, this is the reality of our world today, that aggression is the supreme crime. And so when we talk about war crimes, that's what they are. And yeah, it's important what's going on
I'd
here.
like to take this opportunity to ask us all to actually take a moment of silence together and to kind of keep the people in mind, think about why we are here and why we are doing this work. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and for our supporters helping the defendants be on trial tonight, for the media helping to get our word out, our message that we want to ground the drones, we want to stop the killing, we want to end all wars, we want to protect life, we want to protect families, and that's why we're here tonight. Did anyone else want to speak?